Now, the European Union has proposed some of its toughest sanctions yet against Russia as the conflict in Ukraine enters a third month. And it could include a total ban on all oil imports. Rebecca Bongdun reports from Brussels.
The latest round of sanctions proposed by the European Commission includes some of the toughest steps yet, aimed at cutting off revenue streams to the Kremlin which could finance its war on Ukraine. The plans, which have to be signed off by all EU countries, include banning Russian oil imports within 6 months and refined petroleum products by the end of the year. It will be a challenge for the bloc, which will need to quickly find alternatives.
Let's be clear, it will not be easy, because some member states are strongly dependent on Russian oil, but we simply have to do it. So today we will propose to ban all Russian oil from Europe.
For now, though, the EU isn't cutting off imports of Russian gas, which makes up a large slice of Europe's energy consumption. Analysts say that the economic fallout of the oil ban could include higher inflation and energy supply shocks. Not all EU members are in favour of an oil embargo. Hungary, which depends heavily on Russia for crude oil, has repeatedly expressed concerns about the challenges it would face. Reports have suggested Hungary and Slovakia might be given until next year to phase out Russian oil, but even this might not be enough of a concession to get the two countries on board. The European Commission President said phasing out Russian oil would be carried out in an orderly fashion. Cutting off Sberbank, Russia's largest lender, from the SWIFT payment network would hit Moscow's financial system. Combined with the oil embargo, these are harsh measures, but the EU would feel some economic pain too. Rebecca Bongdun, CGTN, Brussels.
Now, from Riga, Latvia, William Denslow has more on Russia's reaction to the EU's latest proposals.
In response to those proposals by the EU, we've heard from Dmitry Peskov, Kremlin spokesperson. He says that Russia is considering a variety of response plans. This, of course, comes in a week where we've heard from Vladimir Putin, who signed a decree which essentially will be another raft of Russia's own sanctions on Ukrainian allies. Now, we don't have particular details as to who is included in this latest round of sanctions. It's believed that Russia is currently compiling this list, and it'll be put together over the next 10 days or so. We do, however, know that there will be a ban on the export of goods and raw materials to those that are included in this round of Russian sanctions. Dmitry Peskov saying that this is a double-edged sword. He says that this will lead to rising prices in Europe as well. Russia has consistently reiterated that very point, that these sanctions put in place by Ukraine's allies are in fact hurting them rather than Russia. Dmitry Peskov saying it's nonsense and there is no chance that Vladimir Putin on May 9th will be declaring an official war in Ukraine. Of course, May 9th is a hugely symbolic day in the Russian calendar. It marks when in 1945 the Soviet Union declared victory over the Nazis. That fueled plenty of speculation that that could be used as a kind of news peg for some kind of military victory or escalation in the war. In recent days, we've also heard from Sergei Lavrov, Russia's foreign minister, saying that they won't be held to any kind of arbitrary deadlines. Sergei Lavrov saying that what they will be controlled by is the amount of trying to save civilians on the ground in Ukraine, as well as Russia's individual security. There has been plenty of concern when it comes to neighbouring nations in Ukraine about a potential escalation in the conflict. Moldova's president saying that there's no imminent threat, but she said that they are making contingencies for any bad scenarios. This, of course, also comes as Belarus is engaging military drills on Wednesday. However, they have very much sought to downplay any kind of risk of that to their neighbours as well as to the rest of Europe.
And UN Chief Antonio Guterres has warned that the current global food security issue cannot be solved without the resumption of Ukraine and Russia's agricultural industries.
There is really no true solution to the problem of global food security without bringing back the agricultural production of Ukraine and the food and fertilizer production of Russia and Belarus into world markets despite the war. And I'm determined to do everything to facilitate the dialogue that can help achieve this objective.
And according to the latest report from the Global Network against a food crisis. Nearly 200 million people around the world have experienced acute food insecurity last year, an increase of nearly 40 million people compared with 2020. And the organization has attributed the root causes to multiple factors, including geopolitical conflicts, the climate crisis, and inequality.